If you're in love with Hunt x Hunter's opening song and want to find out why, then this is the video for you. Stick around for some in-depth analysis about its visual, musical, and lyrical components, and how they come together to create such an iconic theme.
Sashmash!
The first time I was so obsessed with an anime opening was nearly a decade ago. Freshly woken to this new entertainment world, I did in fact naively believe the Sword Art Online opening to be the peak of modern cinema. Now that I have many more years of anime professional music experience, I can laugh at how silly my younger self was. What is no laughing matter though is Departure by Galnerius. There is a reason after all why this is the only opening song used for all 148 episodes of the 2011 series. Even if you can't distinguish a note from a chord, do not worry, because I'll explain mostly everything.
The song bursts into play with hardly a moment's notice, in time with the sun rising over Heaven's Arena and the city surrounding it. At first, the guitar riff alternates in octaves, building tension while the city is in complete darkness. This apprehension is cast away with a confident, distorted screech from the guitar, in time with a stylized lens flare, jolting awake the viewers. This mirrors the following shot where Gon rises from the darkness, and it's interesting to note that while we look over the city, we subsequently look up at Gon. We are looking at the world of Hunt x Hunter through Gon's perspective. We are following him and his story.
Fittingly, the melody rises by a semitone in time with Gon climbing up the final step. What follows is a powerful chord progression commonly used in pop songs to make them catchier, whereby the melody changes from its home key to its equivalent minor key. Or if you're a music nerd, the modulation to the relative minor through the secondary dominant. The reiteration of this melody continues to rise in the same manner several times until we reach the title.
The lyrics here, "Lead us with the smile of an angel," may tie in with the religious and spiritual symbolism in the series. After all, as they're being sung, Gon climbs upstairs and reaches a looming door, reminiscent of common depictions of heavenly ascension. Perhaps this shows Gon entering a new world, a world of incredible abilities and people, the world of hunters. Through a secular lens, this part can just as well represent self-improvement, journey, and growth, as Gon is literally taking steps towards his lofty goals. The next time we hear the word smile is during the introductory shots of the deuteragonist Killua. "You Can Smile Again" is sung in English, making it stand out from the rest of the song. In a way, Killua is also exceptional, not conforming to his familial role. Furthermore, these linked lyrics imply that Gon's angelic smile is what enabled him to smile again. Gon's kindness and optimism brought that out in Killua too, and because of this, Killua calls Gon light later on, with light itself being linked to heavenly and celestial beings. Back in the opening, Gon is literally engulfed in light as he opens the doors.
Immediately after, we are flung into the sky and join a flock of seagulls just as the music reaches its first peak. While birds flying in anime openings is quite cliché, this doesn't diminish their symbolism of empowerment and improvement. Another interpretation can also be made. As the birds are seagulls, this could be linked to Gon specifically. Gon comes from a small fishing island, two things commonly associated with seagulls. However, Heaven's Arena is nowhere near the coast, so we can conclude that Gon is now in a slight fish out of water situation. In the story, he is indeed constantly out of his depth, but much like the seagulls which soar confidently, he largely manages to traverse each situation. The title appears for a moment before it too is engulfed in light. As it appears in the sky, this further shows the tremendous distance between the main characters and their goals. Perhaps even overcoming human limitations is required. This is exactly what happens to Gon and Killua in Heaven's Arena, then lock their nen and ascend higher up in the building.
From the perspective of a first-time viewer, Kurapika's segment doesn't appear to reveal too much, quite like the character himself. The first shot is of Kurapika running against the wind, which carries with it a handful of green leaves. This can be an indication of Kurapika's hastiness and certainty for revenge, no matter the difficulty. Falling leaves are symbolic of death and somberness, green leaves specifically indicating premature death as it is largely brown and dead leaves which fall off naturally. This is exactly what happened with the Kurta clan being massacred, and the reason for Kurapika's pursuit. Next, and unlike the rest of the characters, we only see half of Kurapika's face, generating intrigue and suggesting a hidden or guarded side of him, while also drawing our attention to his eye, which briefly flashes scarlet to the lyrics, "Lonely but not alone." This is an apt description of Kurapika, as while he is the lone surviving Kurta, he has found new company in Gon, Killua, and Leorio.
This part of the song is in a completely different key, D-flat major, to both the start of Kurapika's segment and the song entirely. While the melody and harmony are diatonic at the start of this section, a chromatic chord plays when Kurapika's eyes change colour. This chord throws things into disarray, mirroring Kurapika's turbulent emotions before quickly shifting the chord progressions back to their original diatonic state. Musically, this is quite anticlimactic because we expect further development stemming from the sudden chord change. In other words, this is another premature end or unexpected development, a running theme in Hunter x Hunter.
This shift back also serves to introduce Leorio, and coincidentally, Kurapika needs other people to bring him back or ground him. Leorio's section of the song contrasts Kurapika's as we hear a general rise of the melody for Leorio, whereas the melody descends for Kurapika. Specifically, there is a modulation to the dominant, which creates a direct upward shift of the harmony, lightening the mood. This mirrors their general character arcs. Leorio seeks to heal and become involved with others, while Kurapika seeks destruction and isolation, even if it means becoming involved with the underworld. This polarity is further reinforced as Kurapika and Leorio run in opposite directions to each other.
Onto Leorio's lyrics. There's always meaning in being born. This line is a powerful choice to showcase Leorio's introduction of running through poverty-stricken streets. He was born poor, and this poverty meant his childhood friend died a preventable death. Unlike Kurapika, Leorio's grief and frustration became a catalyst for positive development, his new aim being to become a doctor who provides free treatment to those in need. Life is not disposable and should be cherished. Take notes, Kurapika.
Lastly, we're introduced to Killua. We first see his shadow cast on the cobblestone streets before Killua is revealed entirely. I think this can hold several interpretations. Killua's skill set is initially that of an assassin, aka one who works in the shadowy underworld. Secondly, he is in the shadow of Gon's light as the deuteragonist, or he feels he is not worthy of being light too. Lastly, our first impressions of him are incomplete. His character holds a lot of depth that is not immediately revealed. At first, we probably all thought he was a badass, heartless assassin, but he is in fact a very sensitive and thoughtful young boy with a streak of cheekiness. Just look at his smirk.
Killua's carefree skating towards the camera also implies him running from a dark past and breaking free from his family. Visually and thematically, this contrasts to Gon, who is facing away from the camera, ready to embrace the future. Throughout the story, we come to realize that while Gon is focused on accomplishing his goals, Killua continuously needs to deal with his past trauma and its ramifications. Moreover, while Gon is facing Heaven's Arena, Killua skates away from it, indicating that Heaven's Arena and what it represents is not truly what he's after. For most of the story, he doesn't have a long-term goal set in mind.
I've already touched on the lyrics for Killua's part, but as a quick refresher, they are, "You can smile again, bask in the sun." This is a direct message to Killua, and also a metaphor for Gon's radiant and healing qualities. Killua can overcome what is holding him back, and regain happiness because of Gon's presence. The musical composition is reflective of this change, as the melody is now pitched higher and the harmony is now predominantly made up of primary chords, providing a warmer tone quality much like Gon's presence in the show.
By the way, have you noticed that Gon's segment of the opening lasted longer than Kurapika's, Leorio's and Killua's? Specifically, Gon's introductory scenes go on for an extended 8 bars, whereas only 4 bars are given to each of the others, further cementing Gon's role as the main protagonist of the story.
At last, the gang come together as they run towards Heaven's Arena, set against a huge rising sun. The lyrics, "You Can Fly Away," remind us of the seagulls that flew up into the sky when the title was shown. Overall, this shot denotes the boundless potential of the main characters as they join forces to tackle the Hunter exam together, each contributing their individual strengths. But this lingering feeling of satisfaction abruptly comes to an end as the main character's journey is obscured by a thick fog. This represents the various challenges that stand in their way. Hisoka and Illumi as the mysterious antagonistic duo, the various other exam applicants they have to battle, and the examiners themselves, highly esteemed people holding the power to award and disqualify. The fog colours may have been deliberately chosen to represent the aforementioned attributes of each threat. The positioning of the various characters in these shots also holds meaning. While the Hunter exam candidates are standing on a level plane facing the camera, Hisoka and Illumi are looking back at the camera and are much closer to it. This gives a sense of immediacy and increased threat level to the danger Hisoka and Illumi present to the main characters. The examiners are set against a silhouetted crowd, highlighting their exceptional nature. Netero appears to be on top of an antenna mast, indicating his role of being the heart of the Hunter Association, and as such, his ability to broadcast his will to the Hunter world. The golden clouds are also reminiscent of his 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva, and in general indicate a form of enlightenment.
Musically, the first harmonic climax is now reached. We hear several consecutive chord progressions to reflect each of the challenges the gang face. Listening closely, in the first bar we hear G flat major, A flat major, and then B flat minor, creating an unresolved interrupted cadence. But we're not done. As the melody climbs higher and higher, the harmony climbs to C major and finally to F minor, creating a modulation from D flat major to its dominant's relative key. With the help of the rising bass, this essentially gives a progressively intense build-up and overflow of emotion which reaches its peak when the music transitions to a new key. What follows is a comedic action sequence, showing each of the main four's general approach to conflict. Kurapika gets right in there, dealing with the people right with his own hands. Leorio looks out of place and is reluctant to get involved, his luck and connections with people saving him from his doom. Gon creatively uses his fishing rod to help Leorio from the monsters, and Killua provides support so that Gon can focus on his goal. The song here immediately shifts back to the key it first started in, B flat major. Again, Killua smiles to the lyrics of "You Can Smile," played out on the 3 notes which comprise B flat major itself, D, F, and B flat. This is significant because it's reflective of the cyclical themes present in the show. Just as how we started the opening in B flat major, this reiteration of the tonic chord reinforces the musical direction of the song. Despite modulating to a completely new key in the middle, we still made our way back to the key that we started in. Some of you may have noticed this through the repeat of "smile" in English, which ultimately serves the same purpose.
The final section of the opening circles back to Gon. Startlingly, he now appears much worse for wear, and the reason soon becomes apparent: Hisoka. This much-anticipated conflict is teased here for almost 40 episodes, giving us something to keep looking forward to in the first part of the series, even though it's not at all Gon's main goal. Whereas at the beginning, Gon rose up by climbing stairs, Gon here picks himself up off the ground, indicating his journey changes from a guided one to one where he carves his own path. His resolution is as solid as ever, showing that failure is simply a part of the cycle of development, as the lyrics, "Try and try again," reinforce. Also, the development of Gon looking towards Heaven's Arena to being in Heaven's Arena in a beat-up state shows the ever-evolving requirements Gon needs to fulfill. It's not enough simply becoming a hunter. Gon then needs to learn Nen, and then find a way to Greed Island, and so on. Also, I just want to take a moment to talk about the use of lighting here. Gon is illuminated by multiple spotlights, and Hisoka is facing away from the light, enveloped in shadow. All eyes are on good-natured Gon, who needs to defeat the Dark Force Hisoka, reinforcing their protagonist and antagonist roles. Hisoka first appears behind his cards, hinting at his mysterious but sly nature, and concealing his true abilities. This contrasts with Gon, who is earnest and has nothing to hide. Finally, he dashes into the light, certainly a much faster and desperate pace than when he opened the dark doors.
Musically, we hear the song reach its highest and final peak, preceded by a noticeable modulation to the dominant's dominant. In other words, the key shifts from B flat major to F major and finally to C major before returning to its original key of B flat major for the final musical phrase. Not only does this create a direct upwards shift in the harmony to create a climax, but also feeds into the cyclical elements present in the show. Here, each consecutive modulation references the many challenges that Gon has to endure, his journey seemingly never-ending, as from the ashes of his victories arise new obstacles to tackle. Phew, I haven't spoken this much since quarantine began. Departure certainly is one hell of an opening now, isn't it? It's a lot of fun trying to ascribe meaning to every little thing, but none of us really know in the end how much is intentional and how much is just a happy accident. A lot of the musical bits I explained here may just have been included to make the song more striking or catchy on its own. Even though Galnerius were commissioned to make the opening for Hunter x Hunter, we don't know how much they cared about the series.
And we don't know how deep the visual symbolism is meant to go either. In any case, I hope we opened your eyes to some interpretations that can be made, and just how well everything goes together and how much can be foreshadowed. Oh, do you want to know one last thing? The kanji for departure is literally pronounced as Hatsu. The clues were here all along.
If you discovered at least one new bit of information, then please like and subscribe, because it honestly does help to keep us motivated to make more videos like this in the future.
So until next time,
Sashmash out.